Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of the Force Choke podcast. We are very excited to bring you a great show. Before we introduce the council, we'd like to say hello to our very special guest today. Cosplayer Josiah is Skyping all the way from... Where are you from, Saya? Where are you at right now?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Ooh, LA.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for spending the afternoon with us and giving your thoughts on the galaxy from far, far away. But right now, let's introduce the council. Here we have Micah.
I'm Izzy.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Tim.
I'm Lewis.
And again, my name's Micah. So thank you for spending your valuable time with Force Choke fans. And friendly reminder to everyone, you can view the behind the scenes on the... Hey, stop it. We get behind the scenes of the show every episode. And our other special guest, Lando Calrissian. All you have to do is just head over to our Instagram, The Force Choke, 30 minutes before each and every show. You'll have the opportunity to interact with us while we're setting up for our show and see us get frustrated with the technology. That would be me again. So don't forget, you can find tons of our content, including pics, GIFs. Yeah, I said that right. No, I said it right. GIFs. Videos, artwork, podcasts, and etc. Across many of the social media applications, including Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Vero, Twitter, Tinder.
Tim's swiping left and right and left all over the
Super
place.
liking, isn't that a thing, right? But now that we have all that sorted out, I have a question. Sith Lords and Jedi scum, are you ready for a great podcast? Let's get it rolling by giving our fans a spotlight for a second. Fan of the show, John Brooks, recently stuffed that mail slot with a gift. Sarah,
Yes.
would you also kind of unbox that for us?
What is it?
It's a box.
It's a box.
It's a box.
Wait.
Thanks for the box.
Avocado. Yay.
It's a really good box.
It's,
I'm excited.
Okay.
when it
Is
came
he
in,
good?
I thought it was what's the new Nintendo?
The Nintendo cardboard game?
Yeah, I just started kicking it
It's
around.
like $60 for cardboard from Nintendo.
What?
No.
Well, you could create stuff out of it.
What is it
Like
called?
the box
again?
of imagination from SpongeBob?
Yeah, it's like they cut out stuff for
Imagination.
you, and you just kind of put it all together.
Ah.
For $16.
60.
60.
60?
I think
Yeah.
it's 60, maybe more.
What?
Well, let's see what's in this one.
Nintendo.
Ay, Dios mío.
Okay, ready?
That's
Is you want a totally? Oh my god, there's an envelope inside the
I
box.
can't do it.
An envelope.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's your
box.
Yeah, the box
Oh,
had
to finish my
What?
project.
It's
Nintendo
a-
Labs.
Yeah,
Nintendo
this-
Labs.
Oh, shit.
Ah.
3D printed.
Shotgun.
Oh,
No, that's not a
nice.
shotgun. That's a lightsaber.
3D printed lightsaber from the black market.
That's sweet, man.
Does it come undone? I don't want to. Never mind. Don't do it.
don't
It's
know.
gonna break.
Banshee.
Well, thank you,
Also,
John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
the team.
Oh my god.
That's me.
That's it?
Yeah, don't.
Yes.
It's so light.
That's awesome. Thanks, John, for filling
Thank
that
you.
mail slot for us.
To Anakin.
Woo!
Tim is really, really excited for the mail slot to be filled finally.
He does.
So
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And
we're not immune to anything else? Anybody else?
yeah,
Sponsorships, gifts,
sponsorships,
sponsorships, gifts,
right?
Gifts.
Anything.
Tim's
GIFs.
gifts,
And
And
sponsorships.
gifts.
and everything else under the sun. So, are you still with us?
Yep.
So, Lewis here writes our script. He gets a little long-winded sometimes. Sorry about that, buddy. Once again, thank you for joining us. We have an entire segment dedicated to you later in the show, but for now, we want to also get your thoughts and opinions on all the topics on the show today. So I'm going to hand over the reins to Timmy, because he's got some hot and spicy news from the Outer Rim territories. Tim,
Level
Take it
spicy.
away.
What level of spicy?
muy caliente.
Mucho.
Mucho.
Alright, so the first thing I'd like to talk about is Disney's new animated series called Resistance. We got a glimpse of the style of some of the characters recently produced by Lucasfilm. This show is announced back in April, and it will follow from the program Star Wars Rebels. It will follow the program Star Wars Rebels, which concluded its fourth season back in March. So Star Wars Resistance is now reported to be debuting in October, where it'll premiere on Disney XD. The show will follow the adventures of a new character, Kazuda Zayono, who is described as a young pilot recruited to help spy on the First Order. Gwendolyn Christie and Oscar Isaac will reprise their roles from the live-action Star Wars films by lending their voices to the characters of Captain Phasma and Poe Dameron, while the droid BB-8 will also be a part of the cast. Character art for the new series was also previewed during a recent Disney event in France.
Yes.
Let's see.
I don't know if
Let's talk about that art real quick.
Yeah. So I did. Did you get to see the artwork for the new? I don't know if you keep up with Rebels or.
I actually been trying to pull it up on my phone, and it's bringing me to a lot of deviant art.
Okay, let me see.
Which looks awesome, by the way.
Uh-huh.
But
Oh yeah, Deviant Art always has some good stuff.
There's a little. I don't know if you can make that out there. It's black and white, but
okay,
a little
they
bit.
kind of look like coffee stains from right here.
Yeah, I didn't know if that would come in.
Coffee stains. Oh, I'm sorry, that was coffee stains.
Right? They're just blobs of artwork, and then we'll be moving.
So like the first image we have is the First Order, right? So we have the troopers, and is that a Death Trooper standing in the middle?
I think that is actually Captain Phasma.
Well, it is Phasma.
Yeah.
We need color here.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway.
didn't bust out the color.
Spare no
and then the second image. Oh yeah, and then that image has TIE fighters in the background. But second image is the crew, including Poe Dameron and BB-8, and a few of the like new characters in the show that we have yet to learn who they are yet. But they look a lot like the characters from Rebels, just more mature looking. To me, it's the same. It looks like the same art. Except it's not like 3D-ish, it's like more 2D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
The way it's stylized.
yeah.
No, like Forces of Destiny, like.
Yeah, like,
That's not allowed here, okay? No.
I didn't really care for. Well, I don't know. I mean, it looks cool, but I thought it was going to be more 3D looking. You know, maybe along Rebels
Yeah.
or the Clone Wars stylization, but it looks more hand drawn, animated. You know.
You know what it kind of looks like?
What's that?
That damn Fortnite game.
Oh.
I wonder if they did it on
Yeah,
purpose.
It kind of does.
I think that the success that Fortnite is having and what. I feel like it started with Overwatch, though.
Yeah.
Overwatch, started this whole thing with the way these characters look and.
These are video games, by the way.
Yes,
But
yeah.
I think that Fortnite, though, is though I think it was originally created for adults, it's more played by children now, and I think that might be one of the reasons why they chose the animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
good point.
yeah, 'cause that's what I'm thinking. They just do anything they can, like psychological or not, to bring people in to get that attention.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's why they changed the stylization.
It could be.
Because Rebels it was clean enough that it was almost serious.
So they're
enough,
targeting the Fortnite.
you know? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
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 That could be true.
It
That could
is.
be true. Just for me, it's like, I don't know, because I love anime. I know Tim here loves anime as well.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys
Okay,
about
yeah.
it, but I know Tim and I are very, very into the anime, but it's just not appealing to me just from the pictures. But I mean, it looks cool, so we got to at least give it a shot. You know what I mean? Maybe we can. It's supposed to debut in when, Tim? Do you know?
April? Right?
No,
I
that's
thought you said
October.
October.
in October.
October.
Right?
Yeah, real quick to jump on it. No,
Date
bro.
I remembered.
It was announced in April, but it'll debut in October.
In October, so maybe we can have like a little viewing party or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be
That'd be
fun.
sweet.
And then we can all make our assessment from there.
Lando.
Okay.
All right, Tim.
Wait, are we done talking about that show?
I don't know. What do you think? Well, it's gonna be kind of like a spy show, right? Because he's spying on the First Order.
It looks very Saturday
So
morning
this takes place
cartoon.
before
It really does.
The Force Awakens, right?
That's what I'm assuming. It would have to.
I mean, well, yeah, because they're building a resistance. Poe Dameron's there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, as the rise of the First Order, the rise of the resistance.
Yeah. So
Well, for the spy to be successful, right? So the show's gonna end. Okay, spy did their job, mission. Then we're not gonna know. The name was I had never
Resistance.
Kazuda.
Cool.
No,
Oh, the
say
name of the
main
character.
the new character.
Mm-hmm.
It's about it's not never mentioned. I don't know if it's in the books either. But what's their mission?
I guess
I mean, it's just spy. It's a spy, but like, what did they learn from it? Like how they got the plans for the Death Star.
The objective is to win the war.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Anyway,
Saving
my
Private
mind's
Ryan.
like, okay. Alright, so the next thing I wanted to bring up is something we've touched on a little in our previous episodes. George Lucas has been reluctant to reveal anything about Star Wars since the Disney merger, but he gave a hint where he was heading in the companion book to James Cameron's Story of Science Fiction TV show. George stated, "The next 3 Star Wars films, we're going to get into a microbiotic world. There's this world of creatures that operate differently than we do. I call them the Wills, and the Wills are the ones who actually control the universe. They feed off the Force. If I'd held onto the company, I could have done it, and then it would have been done. Of course, a lot of fans would have hated it, just like they did Phantom Menace and everything, but at least the whole story from the beginning to end would be told."
End quote.
End quote from Georgie.
Georgie boy.
Georgie!
Hello, Georgie.
So what do you guys think about that? A microbiotic world.
So, is that talking about the midichlorians?
It's
think so.
bringing back that
The
that concept,
midichlorians.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he held on. He had episode 2 and 3, and he never re-mentioned it.
Yeah, that's true. They never revisited it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
I think this is just him talking kind of shit after the fact.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm not talking crap about him or anything, but it's kind of easy. Like, oh, it's not mine anymore. Well, it was my concept. It's my baby, and someone else is raising him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like, this is not what I would have done.
Yeah.
So I think it's just him just talking after the fact.
I don't know. Maybe that's what he wanted to do. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? George Lucas wanted to take a turn, it seems like, in a totally different direction and go from what we're used to in Star Wars and start focusing on
Explaining the Force by Wills.
Well, I mean, what do you mean, like, what we're used to in Star Wars? I feel like there's a lot of differences between which trilogy you're talking about, and I feel like if he is siding with, what did you say, the Phantom Menace, then there's going to be a huge group of people who are not going to like that, because I feel like that focus is really on, and I think that this focus with creating these new creatures is almost like a ploy to make more money off selling McDonald's toys and things like that. That's being
Merchandise.
That's my, like, that's an issue. Like, you guys don't, like, haven't asked me, like, which trilogy I really support, but it's not Phantom Menace trilogy. Like, one of those things where it's just like, I feel a lot of that was just forced to make money.
Yeah, and
that's what it kind of feels like now. I feel like if he gets his edge in there and he can control it, he'll be able to, but not that he needs more money. Like, if he let it go, he needs to let it go.
I don't know. Micah said that of the $4.1 billion
Yeah.
he got from Disney.
He sold it for $4.1 billion. Another $4.1 billion, he only kept
Jeez!
$0.1 billion.
I'll take that $0.1 billion.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of money, yeah, but you sell it for $4.1 billion and you essentially give all that
Go
money
back
away
and
because he
sell
gave it to...
I mean, go back and give him $4 billion away.
Yeah, no, he gave it away, like I think it was like the next day or the next week or something like that. I remember it coming out when they announced that they were selling it and transitioning it to Disney and everything. I remember them coming out. It seemed very, very, very close to when they mentioned that it was going to be sold. That it went from $4.1 billion to him giving away $4 billion to various charities, I think, and projects and stuff like that. So I mean
He
that
needs
and
the money? Is that what you're saying?
What's up?
He needs the money?
No, he doesn't need the money. Is what I'm saying. He just gave. I mean, he gave it all away. I think he probably got the price raised so much to ensure that Disney was going to be invested in this project.
Mm-hmm.
To seeing like maybe Disney was the best potential company to at least carry out his message. You know, to continue that story. But if you virtually give away all the money that he attained from it, he didn't need the money. I mean, I think he still had Skywalker Ranch, right? But I think he ended up, did he get rid of it or decommission it or something like that?
No, it's still.
It's
almost like a museum.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Nobody really actually works there or anything except to tend to the facility.
But you know that cat still has like royalty checks and everything, not to mention all the money he had before that. So.
Yeah. And so, I was watching a documentary-ish, or was it? No, it was a interview with Charlie Rose with George Lucas, and he kind of went into the whole.
Yeah, you told me. I'm sorry.
Disney bought Star Wars, and George Lucas was held on to as a like a consultant, and when he kind of put his 2 cents in, they were like, yeah, George, why don't you just
shut the hell up and go.
Yeah, go stand over there.
Stand in the corner, get your free coffee and donuts, and shut up. Okay?
Yeah. So he said after a while he was kind of like, I'm just not going to show up anymore. And that's what he did, like Micah said.
That,
yeah, he got his checks and his free donuts, and he was like, okay.
Because he was written in as an EP, as an executive producer for them.
Yeah.
And I remember the reports coming out even before Episode 7 released.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we didn't have our show at the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I remember it coming out, it's like, George Lucas is upset.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of put that on yourself, buddy.
Well, I want to ask the Saya, and I want to ask the team. Maybe we can roundtable real quick. I saw something on, I don't remember if it was Facebook or Instagram or whatever. There was a couple of, I guess, groups that were kind of like put on their page, George Lucas, please buy back Star Wars! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. So, starting with Saya, how is your thoughts on that? Would you want George Lucas to buy back Star Wars to make
what
these
was that
films?
regards to? Like, was that regards to like the sequel? Like because I think there's a real divide right now on people who like the sequel versus like George Lucas's fans.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if these fans were like, I think they were just proponents of the creator of Star Wars getting it back in his hands and just
finishing the story.
Yeah.
I think that came out, though, like right after Episode 8 released, though.
Oh, was it? I just saw it recently.
Because that's when they weren't sure who the director was, and they were being an advocate for George Lucas to be the director for 9.
Are you saying you said right after Episode 8?
I think so. I think I remember hearing something
because
like
I know that
that.
there was a huge uproar once. Like, I don't think there was a huge group of people who didn't like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and I think that's when they're like, we want George Lucas to come back, and I don't know, like I'm not like for or against it, but I think George Lucas is a little crazy now. So, like, I mean, he wants to create an entire trilogy off plants that eat the Force. So I mean, like, which could be cool.
Well, we have
insert eye roll here.
I think Tim brought it up on our first podcast that we did about a year and a half ago. The Force Tree, right?
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, there's like all kinds of stuff that I think he probably would have wanted to go
Never really
into.
got to that, right?
They never did.
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Yeah,
The
briefly
Force Tree?
in Episode 8.
It was briefly in 8, but they didn't like.
They're gonna describe it.
They didn't get
this
into the backstory and all that stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's just kind of like one of the iconography, but it's another thing to talk about as a symbol of the past or something, and to actually go into details. I think that might be a little much.
But I agree with Micah, but honestly, it's because I'm a hardcore gamer at heart, and by gamer, I also play a lot of D&D. So we're gonna just move aside of that. But like when like Dungeon Masters create worlds, even though they've created a concept, it's weird because it's like if anybody co-DMs or anything like that, all of a sudden they have it almost sparks more to the game. Like you're like, oh, and this is why that happened. Even though that wasn't the original concept. And I feel like he might have a hard time letting it go, especially with like all these new ideas coming in from other people that he might not particularly like. I think that he, may have been like, no, I want this to be this way because of this.
He's a dungeon master.
It's one of those things where it's like you're gonna walk away. I think he's always gonna have issues with that creativity, with people trying to add more to the story or justify why certain things exist because they're not his original, his concept that he may not have even thought of. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So, Sarah says if he takes over again, great. If he doesn't, whatever.
I just kind of feel like they wouldn't allow that.
But
he's not gonna allow that.
Yeah.
I mean, not to buy it back, but not even to direct anything.
Let's say in a perfect world, right? And you might
perfect,
right? You might
perfect.
You Micah were able to say, you know what? I want George Lucas to get control of Star Wars.
I want George Lucas.
I love George Lucas. Sorry. Would you want him to have Star Wars back?
Like ownership?
take control of what's happening and all that stuff.
No,
No?
because it's not kind of like what we talked about. I think in one of the first episodes or something. Like he released it this way, even though he didn't have the technology to really bring out what he wanted to show. But when you start changing shit after the fact, like when he started doing the special effect features for the special release, like in the early 90s or whatever, and he started adding things in there, it manipulated the story. Yeah, that might have been his original concept, but that's not what was released. So once he releases that for everyone to enjoy, to bring in the fandom, it's no longer just his story anymore. It's everybody's. So to go back and not get permission, I mean, I hate to say it, but to permission or even consideration for him to go and change stuff like that, alters it completely. And so the reason I bring that up is you already have episode 7, you already have episode 8, you already have many other things in there in which he hasn't had a say or even his creative thought process against. So if he goes in there, who's to say that's not going to tear away of what Disney has already done, with him not there.
Yeah.
So I just don't think at this point in the road it would be good. Like maybe use him again as a consultant position like they had him for episode 7 if they listen to him. They don't have to listen to him, but I mean maybe just to get an idea to bounce off him or something, but I don't think it would be a good position to bring him back to actually have creative process or entire ownership of it again.
So you're good with Disney?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he?
I trust that they're going to put out a good product because they're going to want to continue this on, you know?
Is he? What are your thoughts?
Lando.
I don't really.
Lando.
I'm kind of like, I would be okay with it, but then I'm like, I don't really care for it. But like, I mean, Disney does a really good job at like putting out like big.
In your
How's
face
that?
movies.
Big.
In your like.
Production.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know?
It'd be too much.
What?
It'd be too much switching. It would be way too much because then you'd have like the new trilogy that we have, and then go into Will's. You know, would he actually like make a trilogy about bacteria and stuff? You know.
Hell yeah.
They're going to show him.
Yeah.
See, and that's too much.
And they're going to show him biology classes
Science.
across the
I
world.
know, like Dr. Buck would be really happy, but like it would just be
No, Dr.
It
Buck
would-
would probably watch it and be like, no, that's not right.
that's not accurate.
Hi,
It
Dr.
would
Buck,
be-
if you ever see this.
It'd be-
um,
Science and religion could live as one if it came back to George Lucas. Does that make sense? Because it's the Force and then microbiotics.
Well, I mean, the Force. This entire story, the Force in itself has been a religious escapade.
oh my god. Are you okay?
We're gonna pull old Batman. Well, how? I mean, the Force this entire time has been like this entire time. The Force has been essentially like a religious escapade. And when he brought in midichlorians in episode 1, it was almost like a scientific justification to prove how is the Force possible or existent.
Is it Force?
Is it Force?
Yeah.
Do you have Zip Force? You got the little bacteria? Well, no bacteria? Oh, go away.
It's like an infection, you know? Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I love sci-fi movies, and I have a large collection of sci-fi movies.
I sense a lurking
That's
bug.
like some of my favorite movies. I mean, it's all sci-fi. Nothing else. I mean, there's other things, but like majority of it, like the bulk of it is sci-fi. So George Lucas doing that whole thing, I would be okay with for him to finish the story. But then again, Disney, unlike most of the people out there, there was a problem with Rian Johnson on that film. And I mean, it's a big problem for a lot of people, but I didn't think it was as bad as what people think. But then again, people are blaming Disney for all of this. But
You're not talking about Broom Boy, are you?
no. I'm going back to like everybody is hating on Disney, like it's Disney's fault, but really it just comes down to one or two people.
This is who?
You already know who we're talking about. Who you talking about?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan
who?
Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy.
Ooh,
working
he
together.
dropped it.
So, yeah, I mean, she just gave the okay on his direction for the film, and it just kind of threw it
Now-
off the rails. And I love The Force Awakens. Force Awakens, for me,
Oh, yeah.
when they continue the story with that, it was all good. So Disney I thought they did a good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the error happened on the next movie, which I disagree with. But I'm still, if they can fix that, I'm still fine with Disney having the rights to continue the story.
So it was Rian Johnson that didn't mess it up. That was Rian Johnson that messed it up, not
not
Disney.
Disney.
But it was Abrams that did well. It did
Yes,
really good
Abrams-
for the story,
Abrams, hell yeah.
and it wasn't Disney then. This is all the directors.
Hold on, yes.
Okay.
FM, yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to see where the consistency
Right.
level is.
Well, Abrams wasn't he supposed to get the second one, but then he said he didn't want it.
It looked like in the beginning they were going to give him the entire trilogy,
Yeah.
and he said that was too much for him. And then after the 7 came out, he was like, "Yeah,
Oops.
fuck, I should have done it."
Yeah.
You know, but who's to say he would have done 9 then? And I think he's coming back for 9 to kind of try to bridge that gap for fans.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice.
Like, I mean, not tear away from 8, but kind of get back to what his concept was for 7, because Rian Johnson just ripped it from the track it was at and went a completely different direction with it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and
You missed one.
pre-trilogy, the prequels in a little bit. We're going to go into a little bit more about that when we have Saya rank the movies for us a little bit later in the show. And
That's when I lose friends.
right. You're like, wow, look at all these followers I don't have anymore.
I just got to with my man, and he's like, "Oh, people are gonna hate you so much." And I'm like, "Probably."
Oh my goodness. So, I myself, I think Disney's doing a good job. You know what I mean? It seems like each trilogy within itself has its own feel and movement that helps us through the story.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I'm excited to see what episode 9 is going to bring. And you know, I'm a Star Wars fan. I've been a fan. I'm 45 years old, and I've been a fan since it first started. You know, so I guess I'm not one of those original trilogy, you can only be in this kind of universe kind of person, and I'm just open to the whole thing, you know, and I've loved the ride so far, and I can't wait to see what they're going to bring with episode 9. So I think George Lucas, thank you for bringing Star Wars to fruition. But hey, you know, I'm going to take a kind of a quote from Prometheus. A king has his time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your time ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Step out of the way.
So yeah, you know, Disney's going to go take the reins and move this into the future. So that's my opinion on that. But I think Izzy has a question for the team and for Zaya.
I'm curious to hear what everyone thinks about Kerry Russell being in the cast for episode 9.
Who?
Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell.
Felicity? Are you saying Felicity?
Yeah, Felicity. I forgot
I
about
think
that.
she looks like she could be a part of the Star Wars. They definitely have a look for women right now.
Yeah.
You have to like fit very key characteristics right now. But I'm very excited for the amount of women in Star Wars.
Absolutely. And so.
She's a cutie pie though.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so cute.
Have you seen The Americans? She's brutal too.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen the show?
Uh-uh.
She's a KGB officer.
No, I know the premise,
Oh,
but
okay.
I just haven't seen the show.
She's crazy in that show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she's like,
Okay.
oh, snap her neck. I'm like, don't mess with her.
Yeah, I mean,
But I mean, it's still a rumor, yeah?
no,
No,
She-
because
What'd you think?
right before the show, me and Sarah Googled who she was, and I was like, oh, she's in August Rush and stuff. And if you click on the little link and it drops into all her movies that she's in, episode 9 is listed.
already.
Really?
Yeah, it
So that's
is.
official.
Yeah,
She's-
it's listed.
She's on the cast list for episode 9.
Is that
There's
in
just
the
no
database?
character name yet.
Yeah.
She didn't have a
They don't
character.
have a
There
character
is.
name for her yet. Like, it's, you know, Daisy Ridley,
But what is
John
this- what
Boyega,
is
Oscar
the-
Isaac, and they all have their
Is it
character names
IMDb
next
or-
to them. But Kerry Russell.
So what is?
So I think it's a secret.
She's Ray's mom. You
I
heard it here
don't
first.
know.
She's Ray's mom.
That's your prediction.
There's a
That's your
couple of-
prediction.
Oh, wait, no. It
No?
could,
Why
it
not?
could be Iden Versio's daughter, depending upon how much of a time gap there'll be
Oh,
between
you're
8 and
right.
9.
Iden Versio's daughter.
Suck it, Tim. Sorry.
And for those who don't know who Iden Versio
So,
is,
Iden Versio from the game Battlefront 2.
Yes.
There's a secondary, like there's a, what would you call it? Just an addition to it?
In addition to part of the story, yeah.
To the storyline itself, and it was Iden Versio had a daughter.
who's Iden Versio?
Iden Versio is the main character.
In
The Death Squadron,
Yeah.
what was it? Inferno Squadron. There you go.
Inferno Squadron.
Yeah,
she looked up and saw on Endor the
yeah.
Death Star explode, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Just for people who don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then she became a traitor to the Empire.
Traitor. No, sorry.
Because she saw the other side. Anyway, yeah, her
She
daughter.
saw the light side because it had cookies. But yeah, she had a daughter.
I forgot her name, though.
I don't remember it either, man.
And so this daughter.
Long story short, they have a mission in the secondary part. She has to be like 19 or 20. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on how much of a time cap there is for this. But she has a mission. Iden dies in the course of it. But then the last thing you see is her talking to Leia and her starfighter of some sort. I don't know what kind of starfighter it was, but she's talking to Leia, and this is like right before the events of Episode 8.
Episode 8, yeah.
Yeah, like she's like, I guess she's heading to that planet, and she's like, no, I have a more important mission for you to go to the Outer Rim. And then she takes off the Outer Rim, and that's like the end of that.
Mm.
And so that's what I'm saying. And we already suspect that there's going to be a time jump between 8 and 9, you know, for Kylo Ren to do whatever he's going to do, for Rey to maybe bring up a new Jedi Academy, or, you know, to build that resistance aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes sense, like, if it's possibly like 10 years or something, like Kerry Russell could probably play that part, because Kerry Russell's a really strong actress to do something like that.
Do you think it's going to be that long of a jump?
Well, I don't think it's going to be that long of a jump, but that's what I'm saying. I think it depends. If it's only like a 2 or 3 year jump, then Kerry Russell is probably going to have a different role. But I think it's somewhat in the ballpark of possibility that.
Sorry, what do you think? Like, what do you think would be a good time frame? Like,
She would have to be around Rey's
The
age.
Force Awakens to
Well, no, yeah,
The
that's what I'm
Last
saying.
Jedi. It was almost like a smooth transition. There was no time gap in between, you know.
There has to be a time gap though between the Last Jedi and the next. Because what are they going to be doing? Floating in space to a planet and then like having it be like them established. I think it would be better for them to have established a point to move on forward from, because it's really like they kind of like ended a story and they're like, and it's not like the new beginning of like, you know, whatever's going to happen. But I really hope she doesn't play Rey's mom, because I like the idea of Rey not having a mom. I like her coming from nothing and, you know, kind of establishing that hero from like peasants kind of story. But I don't know. I have no idea. I think that like if not too much of a gap, I'm not saying like, you know, 10 years or anything
4
like
years.
that, but I think that they definitely have to establish a going point, like, you know, already having the small alliance already kind of be built up and having you, because I think that's the only way that, you know, Star Wars really works, because right now they're just like space rats floating.
Give him enough time to build another Death Star or something.
Oh, God. if that pops up in the movie theater, I'm going to turn to Tim and hit him. Damn you, Tim!
Damn it. Like duality between Rey and Kylo, but it can't be too far where she'd establish like deeper relationships with other people.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's got to
Like-
be like,
Rapo?
I'd only give it a
no.
couple of years, but there does really have to be some movement forward
Finpo.
that we can like begin another story off of.
Finn Poop?
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, and which would make it interesting because we won't know what they're going to do with the Leia character, you know, if there is a time gap, you know what I mean?
Well, she probably is going to die, and then they're going to be like, and here's a statue of Princess Leia or General Leia, and then like I honestly think that's how they're going to progress forward, because it's such a Disney thing to do. You'd be like, it's going to like start with this like stone statue of like General Leia, and then it's going to go into like other people talking about her death. Like, I guarantee you that's how it's going to happen.
You heard it here first. Inside scoop.
Like, it's just like how Disney handles things like that, and
Yeah.
I think it would also, I think, be kind of cool, because then it's like, it kind of, I also know that that's just kind of how the Star Wars feels, like, you know, having her be like the pinpoint of everything, you know, and like when they make decisions, they're going to like look at the statue and be like, yeah, that's what she would decide to do. And then they'll, yeah, I just, that's the feeling I get.
WWLD? What would Leia do?
Yes, put it on a shirt
I
and
love
sell
that.
it.
Unless Meryl Streep gets to play her.
Yes.
Oh, what do you think about that, Sarah?
What?
we had a debate because
We got like 2 episodes worth of that.
yes, about there was, I don't want to say rumors, but speculation that Meryl Streep would don the role of Princess Leia.
I really hope not.
Thank you, thank you.
Talk to us about your thoughts on that. I mean, your face says it all, but you know, but
I feel like I'm gonna call her General Leia. I feel like her time has come and gone, and I think it'd be really disrespectful for Carrie Fisher to be played by, you know, to have, I mean, Meryl Streep's awesome, but no,
Yeah.
like it just. I also feel like they're gonna do the same thing they did with the original, where they just like stuffed it full of like as many names as they possibly could, instead of actually picking like quality actors and people who fit roles. And I think that there's no one who's gonna be able to play Leia except for Carrie Fisher, and I think that the best thing they can do is let it go. I think that if she kind of passes on the story, give it like 3 or 4 years, and start the story, you know, I think it's a really good transition of like letting a character go, but still using her as like the beacon of hope.
yeah, you know, I really was curious how they were going to find a way to deal with Carrie Fisher's death and Leia not being in this next movie, or I don't know if they have some stock footage or, you know, whatever they have, but the way that you presented it, you know, with a statue, I think that it's really classy. You know, I
It
think
is classy.
yeah.
No, not classy Meryl Streep.
Oh no!
Kathleen Kennedy wouldn't do it.
What if Kathleen Kennedy pulls the executive order card, slaps it on
I
the
think it
table?
would just be super disrespectful to
Yeah.
the character to do that. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Meryl Streep. Like, I'm just saying anybody. I think that'd be so freaking disrespectful to do to like what she brought, especially because like when she came back, she wasn't in the best of health, and she still like she rocked that role,
Yeah.
and I think that it was just such a like if you're not, I just think it would be really disrespectful
Yeah.
and
So-
kind of like classless to be like, and now I'm playing the role of Leia. I don't know. It just seems weird.
Yeah. So I'm curious. How do you feel like? Let's roll this back a little bit. And what's the young lady's name from Stranger Things?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh
Yes. How do you feel about her playing a young Leia in maybe in an anthology movie?
Well, I think she's adorable. Okay, anthology movies and children actors. I think that Bobby Brown probably could. Not Bobby. What is her last name?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Millie Bobby. I just like to call her.
She said the
Bobby.
last name first too.
She's adorable, and I think she's a really talented little gal. Like, really, she is. And I don't know. It's gonna be like one of those things where like.
It's
I
borderline.
think she could do it, but like at the same time, it's just like I'm interested in the storyline and how that's gonna play out.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
a thing? Has that been talked about, or is this just like?
No, it's just something that us in the podcast
Okay, so
have
like
thought
this is
about.
that's the first time I've ever heard of that. So like, what?
Yeah, no, and
They're losing
I
time
have
on
to
it
mind around
anyway.
that a
Yeah.
little bit more before I be like, is this something we want to happen or not?
right? No, and you know, and we'll talk about it a little bit more when you.
Surprise!
Hey,
We have the exclusive. No, you know, it's just something that we've talked about. You know, this going back to kind of fill in gaps like they did with Rogue One, now with Han Solo. You know, we were thinking, are they going to do a Princess Leia movie? Are they going to do a Luke Skywalker movie? Are they going to do Obi-Wan Kenobi movie to fill in all these gaps? You know what I mean? Oh, your face.
I really love it because I'm not a fan of the OG trilogy, not at all. And I think it would be cool to revisit some of the characters who deserve justice. So,
Justice.
like,
Well said.
I-
Well said.
Kenobi! Sorry.
so I don't know. I think that I think that they should leave the Princess Leia alone.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's going to cause a lot. I think it actually cause a rift between Star Wars fans because there's people who've already kind of created all of this knowledge base and all of this fandom off of a certain idea. And I think that if you're making it full black and white, I think it can divide a lot of people.
Very true. Very true. All right. So, Izzy, you got something else, right?
I'm just gonna go. Huge news.
What?
Ready?
What's the huge news?
Ready? Lando's back.
I wasn't ready.
Lando's
Who?
back.
It's
Lando.
official.
Where is he?
Billy
He's running around
D.
here somewhere. Lando.
He's back.
So how did y'all feel learning that Billy D. Williams is going to reprise his role in the next Star Wars film entitled, I don't know what.
The end. Oh, boy.
As Lando Calrissian.
I love
Sarah?
it.
What do you think?
Oh, okay. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like what is that? Is that your?
Yeah.
It's the signature.
What do we have
here? So it'll be nice to see him back together with L3, LV,
Oh God. L3.
L3 in the Falcon.
I wonder, like, you know, he gets in there and he's like, "Where's Han? Where's Leia? Like, where's Luke? Where's everybody?"
Oh, you know, I didn't. All that's left is
Like he could
He's
have
like-
a Luke
And
moment
just
on the
point to
Falcon.
her statue.
She's-
Like, there
Yeah.
there. She is. Maybe that's how it starts. Lando looking. At
I think he's gonna be at the funerals or something. They have because I heard that they shot funeral scenes, and now they had it in the novelization that there actually was a funeral for Han Solo, but maybe they held back the actual footage for that to help portray it for Leia's case too.
And Luke.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Micah.
Because
Tim brought this up.
this is double
And
jeopardy.
This
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
this is kind of like a Game of Thrones scene that Tim kind of. I'm not gonna take credit for it because Tim is kind of the one that brought it up. Is that they're
I don't think
having
he did.
a funeral for Han, and that's when the Empire comes in and
Dude,
just wipes
yes!
out everybody, and then that's how we lose Leia.
With the Empire?
Oh.
Oh, not the
Empire?
Empire. The
It's the throne.
Yeah,
It's
First
shorter.
First Order.
Dude,
First
that
Order.
They
would
split
re-
her throat and everything.
Yeah.
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 that would be
God.
awesome.
No.
If Abrams would pull that off, that would be
Let
fucking
my
awesome.
son go.
Well, think about it. People, okay, they talk shit for not taking enough leaps, and then they talk shit for taking leaps. J.J. Abrams should just go in there because that's going to go to fans and everything.
It's not enough like the trilogy,
Oh, dude, what if that's the?
but it's too much like the trilogy.
Oh my God.
The originals. So yeah.
They just
The reveal right there, or like right when they're gonna cut Leia's throat, and she says, "Let my daughter go." She's talking to about Rey.
Uh-huh.
That'd be sick, man.
Oh god.
Now that's garbage. That's not happening.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my goodness.
I could just because you always talked about you really like the dual son scene in episode 4, right? So I could just see it like they're having whatever this funeral procession. They just kind of pan out where it just kind of shows the procession going down the road, and you got the sons in the background. And all of a sudden you hear, and like this whole like fleet comes in and just like starts shooting everyone in the streets. That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking more along the lines of something similar to that. Maybe like a bombardment.
Yeah, well that's what I mean.
And then
is it because they're not expecting it?
Like
Do
what
you
they
think-
did to the Star Destroyer and the other one.
Yeah, but do you think
You may
Kylo
follow
Ren,
ready.
the new what is he called now? The Supreme Leader. You think
Yeah,
Supreme Leader Kylo Ren
Ren.
would do the job himself?
No.
No, you'd have Phasma kill his mom.
It would be too much like The Last Jedi. Like he didn't do it. He was like thinking about it, and he like sat back, and then someone else came in and did it.
Mhm.
I feel like they would just be repeating that.
Yeah, I don't think they could do
obvious.
that.
No,
Yeah.
so you think it just
Like maybe if it was like bad intel, like we're
When he
gonna
killed Han.
we're gonna do this or whatever, and even though he knows what it
Yeah, but
is,
that would've
but like they can't know
yeah.
because if they know, like bro, you
Kylo
can't
Ren
kill
has
your
to
mom.
walk that line of like knowing it's wrong because it's like he's like struggling with like
Yeah.
choosing really being part of the dark side because it's like Rey's like we can save you and he's like bitch no but like he's still struggling with whether or not he's going to fully embrace the dark side, and if he kills his mom there's no coming back from that, so I don't think he can do it. Like it would literally be like him choosing the dark side like completely, and he's not going to make
Yeah,
those decisions.
there's no coming
And
back.
like this is a Disney movie now, but like it's
Yeah.
like he's just not going to. I don't think that. I mean, that would be the ultimate like no coming back from that. Like he's gonna be the ultimate bad guy. And I know like, that's the way they're playing it, but I do think that I do see Kylo Ren actually not staying the bad guy. I think that either he's gonna have to die doing like basically he's either going to repeat the story, repeat the cycle, or he's just gonna end up dying a good guy or joining the light side with another bad guy. Like, that's how I really see it kind of panning out. That's just my thoughts on it. I argue about this with my husband all the time.
So, Saya, what do you
sometimes?
What do you think about this? And I think Izzy is the one that brought it up. How do you feel about, in the recent history here of movies and quote unquote trilogies, where the last movie gets split up into 2 separate movies? Like Hunger Games had part 1, part 2, and then part 3A and 3B. Do you think, would you be opposed to that, or do you think that could be something they would be able to pull off?
I think that's something Disney would pull off. Disney has the money, the funds to do that, and it's a way to like prolong the story. It depends on like what they want to do. Like they shouldn't have done that with what is it, The Hobbit? Like the whole, like that should have been just like one movie. But like I mean, no, it's just like one of those things where it's just like I think that because no matter what, I know that people want to be like, oh, they can be true to the fandom, but really it's all about making money as well and like stretching the buck as far as it can go. And I think that they could definitely do a 2-parter. It just depends on like what they're going to choose to do.
Yeah.
Like if he's going to kill his mom, it's going to be kind of it. Like, but I think this is the first time they actually, because I mean, really, this would be so cool if he did come back from it. He's going to die. That's probably what's going to happen.
You're like, damn it.
I mean, no matter what ends up happening. Like, nobody really has happy endings in Star Wars, do they? So,
from a certain point of perspective or whatever.
From a certain point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it being Disney, like, they're going to make it, like, he wouldn't be Vader this entire time, and he's going to be Vader. He's going to do something really, really terrible, and at the very end, he's going to come to terms, and he's going to die doing some noble cause.
But they just
being redeemed. No, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, for him and himself in that aspect, like, he's so much wants to be Vader this entire time. Like, I think that's just simply what they may do. That's what I'm afraid of that they're going to do. I'm not saying I want that, but I see that would be a very Disney move, and it would be kind of true to the story, Yeah,
and I can absolutely see that happening as well.
Stop.
And so I'm going to ask the ladies, and Musai as well, specifically, like,
more shirtless scenes.
No.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
No, you know how many great memes came of that? Bring them back.
Sarah, what?
I said
Say it.
more shirtless scenes.
Lando, stop.
But anyway, that was a joke.
It was a joke.
It's a half.
They're going to make it into that land whale again where Luke is trying to get
That was the worst.
That was the best.
That was bad.
I missed that.
You didn't remember see that one?
Oh. No, what did you say?
The meme that they made Kylo Ren, that shirtless scene, they made him into that
whale thing.
that land whale cow.
Okay,
And it shows Luke milking Kylo Ren to get the green blue belt.
He's doing
Yeah.
that.
Yes, that's pretty
wasn't
bad.
That was the
Like
best
that.
one.
That was
cool.
That was the best. You're not going to top that.
What were you gonna say, Liz?
Oh, I was gonna ask y'all. Do you, I kind of lost my train of thought there. No, it's okay. That's it. Do you think Kylo Ren, Supreme Leader, will come back, Episode 9, with a mask on, or not?
No.
He's done with it.
He grew up from the mask.
So then maybe he doesn't want to be Vader anymore.
No, I don't think he does.
What?
Like, I think that he's going to be his own.
Well, I've said that, though,
And
is that he is like a successful Vader. Because he took down his oppressive master. And so he can be his own.
So you
They're
feel
finally
like-
taking it a step further, but I just think the ending, it might be very Vader-esque. Because that would be like paying homage to the original storyline through means of Disney without being too crazy. Like, I mean, the way they should do it, he should just kill everyone and like that'd be the end of the story. Finally,
And all
finally,
that's
Sith, finally the
left-
darkness takes over, but that's not a Disney move. That's not going to happen.
Just everybody
I'm not gonna
wipes.
lie, when he made that spiel to Rey, he's like, let's just kill him and start over. I was like, do it. Yeah.
That's
right.
Yeah.
I'm not always a good person. So I was like, but bring peace to the world. Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Sorry, will you do
Bring
us?
peace to my new empire.
Will you do us a favor? Will you do an impression of Emperor Palpatine? Do it.
I'm not. I feel like if I do it, I'm gonna put my camera at like chin level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's actually what I look like in the morning. I was like, I need coffee before this edited. They're not gonna
Same.
Oh my goodness.
Do it. Sorry.
Well,
Take diarrhea of the mouth. Do it. Oh shit.
no, I
But
mean,
it just like the next trilogy would have been really interesting. Like it was just, if that had happened. But
yeah, and you know,
I'm ready
going,
for change. It's fine.
yeah. Well, going back to not a change. I know. I'm happy to see Lando coming back, and I'm wondering. I mean, they killed everybody else. Are they gonna kill him too?
Oh.
In the first 20 minutes of the movie, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Now this is the big one. Chewbacca.
Oh.
Nah.
Can't do it.
Yes.
Is he gonna die?
Yes.
Oh no! Look at her face.
I'll just,
Oh no! Because
Chewie-
that one, I think I would cry.
Chewie is gonna die saving
Indeed.
Ren.
Ren or Leia?
Ren. Chewie's
Kylo
gonna die
Ren?
saving Ren.
Oh really?
Well, remember, think about it though. Like, think of how fucked up Chewie was when Ren killed Han.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Chewie had knew Ren when he was, you know, a young boy. Probably
Yeah.
threw him on his shoulders. I
Yeah,
know I posted a
piggyback
picture
rides.
once. Yeah, like that was like his like surrogate little kid, and what he had to do to shoot Kylo Ren, and he's probably still gonna have those feelings somehow, and somehow like something's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and Kylo, like he's gonna save Kylo Ren dying probably.
He's gonna say somebody and die.
Well, I mean, yes,
I don't
that.
think, I don't know.
But I mean, how great would that be? And maybe that's what, you know, Kylo Ren like starts to have a flashback to his childhood and starts seeing the good side again, because now Snoke's not there manipulating his mind. I know they talked about that in the novelization. Leia told Han that she knew the entire time that Snoke was, you know, messing with him, you know, manipulating him this entire time. But he was actually, I think he was supposed to be the good one, and Rey is supposed to be the bad one. And I think something like that, if Chewie does a sacrifice for Ren to save his life, that pulls his ass back. Be like, wait, maybe I'm doing something wrong here, guys.
Mm-hmm. Would y'all be okay?
That
with
would
that
be cool.
How would y'all feel if you saw a Chewie death? Episode 9.
See, I just completely subverted it.
Yeah.
I don't want to address it, but if he does, he's going to go out like a beast, and he's going to do something really, really good for us.
Yeah. But even so, right? That kind of
That
hurts.
would
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah.
You're 200. You look great.
You have to go down with the Falcon.
Would it be
Oh,
the
you
Falcon?
bastard, Tim. Yeah, that happens.
With
the end of
Lando
the
in
film,
it.
that happens.
With Lando in it.
So all three of them, Chewie, Lando, and the Falcon, all sacrifice themselves.
The Falcon goes back to Lando, maybe. But
And he dies with L3.
Huh?
Oh gosh, right? Well, we'll have to wait until.
Just kill. I said, just kill everybody.
We'll have to wait. What? 500 more days?
There can't be an episode 10 because there's nobody left.
Yeah, 530 something
Yeah.
days
They'll really
to
get
find
the-
out.
the trilogy.
Oh, that's brutal.
Ugh, I gotta go to the restroom.
Why? All right, I think Sarah's.
Oh yeah, team. So we missed the last Star Wars horoscope, but
Good
we've
job.
got this one covered. If you are a Cancer, shut it. June 21st to July 22nd, your Star Wars horoscope sign is Kylo Ren.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
quote, Cancers are secretly very spooky.
Secretly.
Secretly. No, that's gross. That's disgusting.
He's secreting
No.
milk.
Disgusting.
Sorry,
No.
horoscope, of course.
So, like Kylo Ren, you are incredibly emotional. Tortured by the itching feeling that you'll never be good enough. Wow. You're very moody, brooding, emotional. You are a very moody, brooding, and emotional sign that can lean pessimistic if left in the wrong circumstances. Oh. Additionally, Cancers are one of the signs that rules family, heritage, and our roots. So, of course, a Cancer is going to wonder whether or not they stack up to their grandfather.
Oh.
Dun, dun,
Oh
dun.
my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Woo. So who here's a Cancer? No?
No, I don't.
I am, but not a sign. Not the sign. I'm a Cancer to people.
Oh,
Oh,
Just-
gosh.
Wow.
My goodness gracious.
This is
Wow.
a dark episode.
Yes,
Oh.
it is.
Not
Is Mike
cool.
working tonight? Fuck.
Are you working tonight?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes,
Cool.
but
But
Oh,
no.
okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, Sarah, that was pretty deep.
I know.
That was very
That
deep.
was crazy.
And
Stop it, dude.
like a Cancer, Kylo Ren there is spreading the First Order filth across the galaxy. But we have more pressing matters to attend to. We have a very special guest with us today, Saya, and we want to give all our attention to her right now. Saya, we thank you once again for joining us, and we hope you're having fun today. And so we hope you're ready for a few questions from the council. All right, Sarah is going to start off with the first question. Sarah, knock it out the park.
All right, Saya. So we're gonna have you rank the movies later, but right now we're gonna spend a lot of time getting to know you a little bit better. Questions will range from your cosplays to other fandoms to the flat Earth theory. Wait, no, never mind. Not that last one. Not the flat Earth. No.
Please do that.
So the first question that I have for you is, how long have you been doing cosplay, and what has been your favorite so far?
I actually, how long have I been doing cosplay? Feels like, okay, so I actually am a theater baby. I have grown up in theater. I've grown up in costumes. My personality, like, demanding attention. Probably since I was 4 years old. So I grew up dancing, and I actually went through college as a directing major and a performance major. So I literally, it's funny because the transition just kind of happened naturally. Like, I had no other choice. But where I'm from, cosplay wasn't a thing, especially when I was in college, so I was just a huge weirdo. But I mean, doing cosplay like I'm doing now, probably 5-7 years, but not, like, that's when I first started, because I actually started cosplaying in a very different way than most cosplayers. But doing it the way I'm doing now, I've only been doing it where I wear a lot of different costumes and try to, like, competitively, like, stay up with like a Patreon. I've probably been doing it for about 4, but I had originally started as a Wonder Woman cosplayer because I was hired by DC Comics as a Wonder Woman cosplayer.
Oh,
wow.
So,
Nice. Round of applause. That's cool.
So when I moved down to LA, I'm from Oregon originally. I'm a huge Oregon hippie. When I moved after I graduated college, I moved to California to be an actor. I wanted to start my own production company, and that's still in the works. It just kind of starts differently. I think you all have to struggle to really appreciate what you end up doing. But times got real tough, and so I applied at a theme park. I wanted to be a villain. I wanted to be Catwoman. It was a DC theme park, and so I ended up becoming Wonder Woman. And I cried the first time I had to wear the costume out in public because I was very shy and I had a lot of body image issues. And so the first time I walk out in this tiny little Spanx, I was like, I wanted to be a full suited character. And that's what I ended up doing when I was working on small jobs down here. So I did that for 3 or 4 years. I met Batman, and Batman, who also played Aquaman, my husband now, he was one of the only 2 Aquaman in the whole history of retired Aquaman. He doesn't look like Jason Momoa. He looks like straight up blonde-haired Aquaman.
The real Aquaman.
The real Aquaman.
That's right.
And it's funny because we grew together as huge nerds. I'm a huge comic book nerd, anime nerd, and just huge nerd. And and it's funny because we got married in October, but everybody thought we were gonna do this huge theme wedding, and I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. But the cosplay that I do now, the way that I cosplay now, because I was Wonder Woman, when I stopped professionally doing Wonder Woman, I ended up doing her at conventions and stuff for 2 or 3 years, and then I moved into doing other things, and it was a hard transition for me. But I did so I mean what I'm doing now, maybe 3 or 4 years.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm long-winded. I apologize.
No,
No,
no.
you're good.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. So, Izzy, you're next.
Well, it sounds like it already got answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, which was your favorite, Saya?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was your favorite? Okay, cool.
Said that.
I didn't know. She did, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. I'm sorry.
Like Wonder Woman before Wonder Woman was even cool. Like, you know, the whole Justice League, like I was doing her before she was cool. Like I did like the Star Spangled like Spanx, like Wonder Woman. So
Very nice.
yeah.
Next.
Timmy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's you, big guy.
So if our fans would like to connect with you, where can they find your cosplay?
Where I put the majority of my stuff out is on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is just my name, so it's SAYAYOHN, and that's just me. You can just
There you go.
pop it in there, and I come up on many forums, but Instagram's like my biggest platform.
All right. So my next follow-up question is a 3-3-1 question that we have. So it's a Force Choke original. It's where we offer you 3 choices. You get 3 seconds to make your decision, and you must give us one answer.
Okay.
So, all right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess.
So the scenario is your next cosplay shoot is a Star Wars themed cuddle shot with 1, Mark Hamill, 2, Adam Driver, or 3, Hayden Christensen. 3 seconds. Who would you pick?
Adam, straight up.
That was fast.
See that?
There.
You have to know. I actually think that
I thought it was gonna be Hayden.
Mark's a crazy, grumpy old man, and I'd be afraid to like. I mean, he comes off nuts now. Like,
He's
but
in that Joker character.
I also just love Adam's ears, and I just want to like grab him. I like him as an actor. I mean, like aside from like the whole Kylo Ren stuff, I really like him in other roles. And I think he's just a really nice guy to meet and to talk to. He's probably a huge weirdo.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny.
Let's see. Yeah, Micah.
So, Saya, you're doing awesome. Is this your first podcast?
No.
Oh. Well, we're honored that you could join us today. But my
This is
question...
my third. Don't think I'm like a pro at this.
Yeah.
This is my third.
Oh, no, that's awesome. Let's see. When it comes to making your cosplay, meeting fans, suiting up, doing photo shoots and everything, what are your pet peeves when doing cosplay?
It takes a lot. I know this is really weird because I think that cosplayers whine a lot and like just about like I'm a human being. Yes, we're all human beings, but I think that like with that a lot of people are not as tolerant as they should be. I think that a lot of times we're too quick to judge people, and I think that comes from working in the professional industry and just working with a lot of different cultures.
Right.
And I think that it takes a lot to offend me. What does offend me though, as a cosplayer, and I think it just comes from like basing an entire career off the way you look, is like I hate when people take pictures of me when I'm either halfway in a costume or I'm eating lunch, and so you just get one more like. This happened to me pretty bad. It was I got pictures of like, me coming in and out of a bathroom once when I was working at a convention. It was really strange, and then like I think in general it's just like not being because you're presenting someone in the wrong light, you know,
Right,
like
yeah.
when you're not like respectful enough to like ask them not to eat a sandwich, you know, or you get them where they're like halfway in a costume so that and like they're just trying to take a break somewhere,
Right.
and a lot of times people don't even ask you if they can like have your photo, which I don't think necessarily is like a requirement. I mean, a lot of people, I think it's a respectful thing to do, but I can't even tell you how many shots there are of me like halfway picking my nose when I think like no one's like looking or something like that. It's so ridiculous.
It's like, would Wonder Woman really do that?
That's what's weird. I'm a really tall girl and I'm very curvy, and I have this like issue, and I think it's because it's like I'm like the average height of like a Caucasian man, so I have issues with like smaller guys who will come and take a picture of me, but they'll put their hand on my back, and I think it's like the gravitational pull of my ass, where their hand will slowly like drop down during the course of it, and I'm like,
Oh gosh.
Gravity, huh?
Actually, like, hear that. People like actually grab me. I just scream like a dolphin. I'm like, ah! I don't take myself too seriously.
Oh my god.
I never judge you, sir. They're like, oh, sorry. That's the dolphin spot. I apologize.
Well, then I have a follow-up question. Can you talk to us about the purple contacts fiasco you suffered this year?
Oh my god. I had a meltdown that day.
Oh no.
So because of the amount of cosplays I've been doing, because I've been trying to move into being like almost a fully professional cosplayer, and I'm kind of like in between. Like I have a day job, and a lot of hobbies I get in between now and then. So I've been like trying to like pre-plan all the costumes I'll be making, and I was like, all right, so contacts are really expensive, and you have to have, now they're illegal to buy in the United States without a prescription.
Oh,
And
really? I didn't realize.
I didn't know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's completely illegal. They passed a law that you have to have a prescription to get contacts, but you can still go on the internet and buy them from China or anywhere else. But here's the funny thing: you go on Amazon and they're on Prime real quick because like Amazon has to like shut them down. So as you can tell, I have a lot of respect for that law. But I also have no issues with my eyes, so I don't have like eye insurance because I don't wear glasses or anything like that, and I'm not gonna get it for freaking contacts. I will just buy them from China and risk my eyeballs. But like it's one of those things where I went online and I need purple contacts because I have like 5 characters. Actually, one of my characters is back on my body form right now. I'm doing Raynor from Teen Titans, but I'm doing like an angsty version of her. And I'm doing
That's awesome.
yeah, and I'm doing I want to do a sleeve of like prose for her, like a tattoo, just like really neat. And I want to do Yennefer from The Witcher, and it's just like a bunch of these little characters. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to group them together with my contacts because this is a felony probably to buy. But when I bought them, I didn't look. When I originally bought it, I apparently just bought 1 purple contact. And when I got it, I was like, oh my god, because I've been like waiting to do this shoot, waiting, and then. For some reason, like, it wasn't delivered to my apartment, so I had to, like, go, and when I had it delivered, I didn't have it I must have hit the wrong address, so it was delivered to my company, and then, like, but it didn't deliver there, so it ended up going to the post office. I had, like, knock on the Hobbit wall, but the lady, like, never answers the door, so you go get mail, you knock on a door endlessly, hoping some lady's gonna open it, like, yes, and then, like, you know, getting my package, and I was so excited. Like, I get in the car, and it's like 1 fucking contact. I'm so sorry if this is a family-friendly.
No,
I'm
it's
so
okay.
Absolutely not.
and I like just had a complete meltdown because I was like, it's just 1 contact. And I was like, I can't believe I did that. Like, I felt like an idiot, but at the same time, who fucking sells 1 fucking contact? Who sells 1 contact? Like, why
No
would you
kidding.
do that? And so I got on them to try to buy the other one, and I was like, ugh. And then when I went on the seller, like, they no longer sold the contacts, and like, it was so hot. I was in my whole car, and I was like sweating and like crying at the same. I wasn't crying, but I was just like, this is it for me. But I ended up having to buy I found another place who sold the exact pair, and I bought 1. But then they said it wouldn't come in for 8 weeks. I'm still waiting for that contact too. I ended up later, like when I got home, like a week later, I just ended up buying them a pair, and I like sat there and I was like reading through to make sure it was like a pair of contacts. The most ridiculous thing, but those came in. I had them. I'm like ready to go. It was like the most ridiculous thing. But things like that always happen to me.
Yeah.
Like that's just always my life. Just something absolutely ridiculous like that. But I just at the same time, I think it should be illegal to sell 1 contact, but you can't really complain because I didn't have a prescription.
Yeah.
So like I didn't want to have to like get in it like what's going on.
All right. Well, be careful what you buy, on the internet, right? You don't want them to only send you 1 shoe either. Right?
Are you talking shit, Lewis? Are you talking shit, Lewis?
Well, I mean, like that's the most ridiculous thing to be like one fucking contact, and I was just like, why would you do that? I gave you the worst rating ever,
That would be crazy.
which was 1 star because you can't go lower than that. And I ranted like a crazy person. You know, like when you go through like people's like, like you're like, oh, this one person's obviously delusional. That was me. And I think I wrote 1 contact like 60 times. Like, who does this?
I need to get a pair of Van shoes.
Just 1 shoe,
Yes,
please. I just need 1 shoe.
Maybe a pair of Van shoes. Vans? Yeah, Van. Vans. No, Van shoes.
I didn't
Oh,
know
okay.
that.
1. God damn it! No, that would suck.
Well, Zaya, thank you once again for joining us. I wanted to ask you, so how long have you been a Star Wars fan?
Okay, so I wasn't born when the first, when the
New Hope.
sequel came out. Because I wasn't born till the later 80s.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I remember growing up on them, and I have a lot of older siblings. My sister's 15 years older than me. My brother's 8 years older than me. So that was their jam, and of course they shoved younger siblings into that. So I have always really enjoyed them. I'm not going to. I really was not a fan, and it almost ruined the whole Star Wars experience for me. It was when the original came out. I had a lot of issues with it, but also that came out during the prime of my childhood, where I think that really makes you a fan or not. Depending when movies come out and how old you are, and I think it really affects how you're going to accept the films. But I was just lucky enough. I always feel bad because you never know who's a fan of what, and feel like you're just a lying piece of crap right now. But the thing is that just because my siblings are so much older than me, I really got to experience what I consider some of the best Star Wars movies. And then I think that so it's I was a Star Wars fan, and I was oh god no. And then when the Disney bought it and The Force Awakens came out and Last Jedi, I actually really revamped it, and I really enjoyed the movies. And I know that's always very controversial to some people, but I found them very relatable, especially as a woman, and especially as a woman who is hired out to be a superhero, and a woman who came from absolutely nothing. I was very poor as a child, and I was oh my god, I could be Rey. I just found them to be very relatable, and I really enjoyed them. I know that there's a lot of mistakes in them and stuff, just some story plots that just don't make sense, but I'm willing to overlook that just because I just really enjoyed what it brought to the table. And it's kind of hard, but that also comes from not accepting. The originals were fine. The original trilogy was fine in its own way, I guess.
So my follow-up question then is,
I respect that.
and you kind of touched on it here, and you kind of touched on it there, but I would like an official answer. So I want you to tune into the Force, right? Feel it all around you.
That's
Decide,
the Force.
are you an OG trilogy gal, a prequel trilogy gal, or a sequel trilogy gal?
Okay, so I thought about this a lot because I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I really had to think about this. And if I had to pick one, absolutely had to pick one. Oh god, I actually have to tell you, I really would stick with the sequel. I really, really enjoy. I think more so, and I actually think that comes out because I related to it so much. The whole Force Awakens, I just really. I know.
You're oh.
Oh man, it's good.
Well, yeah. Thank you for answering that, and we'll get more into that when we get you to rank the movies later. All right.
Just cut back. You're all right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Next question.
Yes.
Okay. So we asked our last guest this question, and we'd like to hear your response to it. You're in charge of the title for the next Star Wars movie, which will be Episode 9. What is the title? Or what would you name the title?
It's probably gonna I went with something hokey, but now that with recent news, I think it should be Lando's back. But realistically, I don't know. They're probably gonna go with something I don't know, New Beginning or something. It just depends on. I don't know. Honestly, that one's pretty tough, and I feel like it's gonna be something very vague.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Star Wars: The New Beginning. Star Wars, not planned. I don't know. It's just. Who knows? It's always going to be pretty vague. Now I'm going to hashtag
Star Wars, The War Begins.
The end is now. No.
Right. So I'm curious. Now that let's say it is The War Begins or A New Beginning. Do you think they're going to continue on after Episode.
I do. I actually, let me cut you off. I apologize. For that.
All
I
the
don't
time.
think it's going to be. I think that they're probably going to try to milk 5 movies out of this.
Final Star Wars
Really do.
Part 1.
That's kind of what I was thinking also. You know, I thought that they were going to continue after that and go into 10, 11, and 12, maybe even. Who knows?
Yeah, I absolutely think they're gonna. I think they're. I definitely think there's gonna be 3 more movies. I think it's gonna be 100%. I will bet money on that. That there will be.
Micah.
I'm a bit of a gambler myself.
Yes. What do you think, Mike?
I mean, it makes sense, and I would appreciate that too, because I'm sure there's a lot of story they can do, but I don't know.
Well, it took.
But and also got a really good title for episode 9 if it's the last one anyway.
It took Anakin 9, or no, took Anakin 6 episodes to come to his redemption. So maybe they're going to mirror that, where Kylo Ren, it takes him 6 episodes to come to his redemption.
So the characters are really young too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. It
Yeah.
depends on where they're gonna start out.
Yeah.
Episode 9, because I mean the characters themselves, like Rey and Kylo Ren, are very young.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
that'd be cool.
TBD.
I still say the title for episode 9 should be The Last Hope.
The Last Hope.
Ooh, I like that.
Because you had episode 4 was A New Hope, and then
Uh-huh.
you had The Last Jedi,
Are you going to bookend him?
and then, yeah, I mean, kind of like a collage of them.
Put in a bow tie on it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Wrapping it up.
because Leia's gone, I mean, and it's Rey and Rey alone.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Was
But I do like Lando's back, and then he dies in the first 20 minutes. I just
I know, that's what I want to happen. I feel like Lando's back, and then like 20 minutes later.
Goodbye. The weakest link. Oh, no.
So I wonder if Yoda then in Empire Strikes Back, when Obi-Wan Kenobi says that boy was our last hope, and Yoda says no, there's another. Maybe he was talking about Rey.
I don't think so.
He's talking about Lando, don't even.
Very nice.
There you go.
All right, who's next? Who's next?
All right, Saya. So thanks for putting up with the guys here. They can be a handful. The team would like to know if you'll be visiting any conventions in the near future.
Conventions.
Cons.
Cons.
I like where you guys are in Texas.
Or wherever.
Oh yeah, in general. Do
Well,
you have anything lined up?
I really want to go to ColossalCon in Texas, but I haven't. I'm not going to San Diego Comic-Con, which is one of the big ones this year, but I did just sign on to Long Beach Comic-Con, and I will be going to Stanley's Comic-Con, which is called LA Comic-Con now, which I feel like is sad to say that.
Yeah.
It was cool to be called Stanley's Comic-Con, but because I'm Los Angeles based, I stay as local as I possibly can, just like financial.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha.
Very good.
The Comic Con's coming up, right?
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con's this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Not this weekend, but the
Next,
following.
the next.
And I mean, I went like 5 years in a row, but it costs around $2,200 to go with 2 people.
Oh, crap.
You guys know that, so you get like all of the hotel rooms skyrocket in price. So a room that would be like $240 ends up being around $1,200 a night.
Oh, God.
So
Nasty.
to rent out a hotel room for 4 nights costs people around $3,600. And then what like people will do is they'll get like 14 people. I don't even know 14 people intimately to like share a room to like cut down on costs. But I think now they have a lot open. They're so booked up, and with the industry, with like because it's like when Comic-Con originally started, it's just been like the last 7 years that it has blown up with like Marvel and with like all of the Marvel movies coming back into fruition and like popularity. So like now a lot of those hotel rooms are being held by the industry. So like if you work for Marvel, if you work for DC Comics, or for like any of the new movies coming out, like they just like rent out like 100 rooms, and so like it also drives the market of rooms up. So we were staying in a hostel, which is a fun experience, but it's one of those things where it's so crowded, it's just nuts to butts everywhere you go, and it's not like when I originally started going, like 5 years in a row, and it was a super fun experience, but now it's just like one of those things where it's just too much.
Too much. Yeah.
Hostels are fun, that's for sure.
Yes, you've experienced that, huh?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I think Izzy's next.
Okay. So I'm interested, when you cosplay, do you take on the persona you cosplay? Like, do you become the character, or are you dressed as the character and being yourself?
All right, so this is an interesting question, and I think this should be addressed in the cosplay community. Sometimes I think if I get hired out as a character for an event, I am an actor playing the character. And because I still get hired out now to do Wonder Woman events, and now I'm getting hired out to do Ray events. I'm the biggest Ray they've ever seen, but it's fine because then children's eyes don't matter. But I really am a person. I'm a cosplayer, so it's just costume play. You put the costume on when you go to conventions, but because of where I stand, people are actually wanting to like meet me, not the character. But the same goes as the fact that like if a child approaches me and calls me by the character's name, like Ray, I will turn around and just be that character
That's great.
for that child. Like you know, like the thing is because I don't ever want to like destroy the delusion. Like, hey, get what you want. Like, the thing is that like I had a really cool experience because it's like I did Ray in Malibu, up in the cliffside. So I was like up on a 300-foot cliff, and I'm terrified of heights. So I was like, I was like, make sure you don't see my fear in those photos because it was very, very apparent. And I had like a little boy was watching me, and I thought they wanted the cliff's edge. Like I thought, because that's where people go up and do like photos themselves. And like him and his mom were standing there, and he like approached me, and I was like swinging the stick around, like yeah, I'm so badass. And he approached me, and he asked me if I was really Ray. And I was like, do I lie to this child? But in those instances, like I try to like, depending on how old they are, and if I can get away with it, I will lie. But, it's just one of those things where I think that like because I am a cosplayer, I don't, but when I'm being hired out for acting roles, I do. And I don't think that is a requirement for a cosplayer at all. So, and I think that I get really rude comments usually from people who are like, you have to embody the character. I'm like, you don't, because that's not what cosplay is. It's costume play. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's so cool. And I think that's totally what you should do. But that technically is LARPing. That is a cosplay subcategory, but it's not technically the only thing that exudes cosplay. So,
Very good. Very good.
that's my thing.
So Santa Claus is ruined for me. Santa Claus, beat it, kid.
Snuffs out a cigarette on the top of your head.
Santa, you smoke?
There's a lot of things in the community, and I feel like when people who think that you have to like to embody the character to do it, I think that usually comes from a younger generation or from a generation of people who don't understand what cosplay is. But realistically, if you want to wear nipple pasties and a wig, that technically does fall into cosplay. And it might not be the cosplay that you want to see or you respect, but it technically still is cosplay. And it's like one of those things like, I don't do that, but like, I think
Tim does that, I think.
I do that. I do it all the time. Like,
you know,
I do it every day.
okay, yeah. But the thing is that like, and I think there's a lot of like disrespect on like lewd things, and but the truth of it is, you don't like it, just scroll past it. But like, it doesn't help the situation. You know, I'd be like, you're such a slut. Like, it doesn't, you know. And because the truth of the matter is, it's like, if it's a costume, it's cosplay, and it just breaks down into like, you know, someone who builds stuff versus someone who buys stuff. Someone, you know, it's just one of those things where it doesn't really matter. You just follow who you want, support who you want, but stop like saying show me these pages, because it's not like being helpful towards the community.
Definitely.
Izzy, you got a follow-up question?
Yeah. What is the most interesting thing you've done, seen, learned while cosplaying?
Most interesting thing?
Tim and his nipple pasties.
nipple tassels.
What the fuck?
I wouldn't judge you on this.
It's
You're not
cosplay.
hurting anybody.
Yeah. You better be matching, Tim.
And Tim doesn't smile. He's got a straight look. He's like, "This is me. This is my cosplay."
Oh god.
Oh my god.
I think one of the coolest things about cosplay is just the situations you find yourself, and especially when, like, one of the reasons why it's so fun to go to conventions is because you can connect with people you don't think you're really going to connect with. And I have a story when I was at Stanley's Comic Con. That's what it used to be called. It's now called LA Comic Con. I went to an after party, and I was Wonder Woman at this time. This was a couple years back, and I went with my was just my boyfriend at the time, and he went as Batman, and we were with a friend of ours who does Joker professionally. And we went to this after party. It was supposed to be this rave, but we decided to go off the floor to a bar. And we walked in, and we hadn't realized we had walked into a private party. And it was for a movie premiere, and I had the voice actor of Altair from Assassin's Creed. And he asked us like how we got in there, and we were like, oh, we were just. And Dakota immediately goes, I'm Batman. Like one thing he can't hear in his cowl a lot, so he just tries to like sometimes I'll have to repeat things into his like little face gap. But like he was like, I'm Batman, and like I let us join their party.
Nice.
So like we got to hang out with like a bunch of like just movie stars, and like I was so humiliated. I felt like I didn't like see what was going on, and here I am like just dressed in a full costume, like just hanging out with these people. But they had a blast, and they were super respectful. They kept like bringing us food because like the catering company didn't want to feed us because we weren't part of the party, which they were huge assholes for doing that. So they would like come out like with like little like samples of food on like napkins and like feed us. And I'm like, this is like my dream. If I died, like this is gonna be it. Like people just bringing me food. But I mean, like it's funny because like a lot of things like that do happen because you just like happen upon things or you meet people, and if you can make a connection with somebody, especially if you don't want something from them, like you're just generally there to like get to know somebody, like you get to fall into like fun things like that.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice.
So I'm curious. Do you know all the characters that you cosplay? Like, do you watch the movies, the series, or even play the games?
Okay, so yes, I like, and here's the thing, I don't think that's a requirement, but that's one of those things where I hold myself to that personal standard. But with that said, I have done characters that I don't know a lot about because my friend was like, can you do this for me? Can we go as a pair? And that's when we're like, oh shit, okay. But the thing is that like generally when I pick a character, it's because I like that character, and that's why some of my cosplays are so hit and miss, because it's like sometimes I really just like, I like this character, even though I don't fit this character, I'm gonna do it. And, but like, I generally try to like pick things that I know, but sometimes you are pushed into like staying with current, what's cool, and like, so you're kind of like forced into like, I don't know, not that I've ever been forced into watching an anime I didn't want to watch or something like that, but like it's like one of those things where like, if you're not quite sure that's all the rave, you kind of have to like follow it, because I don't want to like have someone call me out on it, because I'll tell you right now, and I'm going to say this too, like you guys, because you obviously are Star Wars fans to the point where you have your own podcast for Star Wars, but like, I mean, it would be like super embarrassing for me if I like showed up as a character and it was like a female Boba Fett or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, I really like your Boba Fett. I'd be like, who? Like, it would be like so, and I don't want to put myself in that situation. So, and I'll tell you right now, no one's meaner than true fans.
It's true.
You forgot the air quotes, like, true fans.
I don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I mean, short of being pushed into something, I mean, sure, I would understand that it would probably be good to have some knowledge based off of the one you're doing, that you're cosplaying.
Absolutely.
Does that mean that you would possibly be annoyed by those that choose to know nothing about the knowledge of the background, yet they are portraying a character like that?
That also comes into like, really again, like I'm pretty tolerant in most things, but I think that kind of falls into when people just, and like it was one of those things where my friend and I make this joke, because it's like, I don't do super lewd things, and I feel a lot of pressure in the industry moving into a professional to have to like be in swimsuits and be like lingerie, and I'm like, ugh, because my lingerie really is like a baggy t-shirt with like Mario on it, so I'm like, hey babe, what's going on?
That's Tim again.
It's not like who I am as a person, and so I think it does like stick in my craw when you see like women who are like, I can say men too, who do really outlandishly lewd things with characters who wouldn't do that. Like, when they're like, oh, here's Princess Leia and a thong. And you're like, okay.
She's got the bun.
I don't like judge that person doing it. I just don't fully like, it's because it's almost like a fan service. Because if you ever like read through those comments, half the people are like, oh, you need to die, and other people are like, oh yeah, like I'm saving this picture for later. And so it's like when women do that, it's just kind of like what you want to portray, or men. If I see like a male Leia and a thong, I mean like, I will hold you to the same standards. But like, I don't know if that's gonna be Tim's thing with the nipple tassels, but yeah.
Tim's listening.
I like it's one of those things that's like I don't really. I know it's gonna sound like I don't care, but I really just try not to spread too much hate around. It's just like at the same time, like I feel like that's almost disrespectful to certain characters, and those are characters who are like known for like their piety or their intelligence. It's hard. It's like when you see those bloody rays, you're like, all right, but it's still advanced, and it's like I think that has to be understood when you go into it. It's like one of those things where it's just like it's the industry and sex to sell, and so it makes things, it kind of blurs the line, and it's really hard now because like cosplay's a porn category now, so it really kind of just like it meshed two worlds together, like cosplayers and like cam girls kind of mushed together, and now we have this really fun little group of people that just hate each other.
Oh my god.
Okay. So I don't know if you mentioned this already, but will you be in Texas anytime soon?
I'm not, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I've always wanted to go to ColossalCon, which is in Texas, and it's like that one that's at the theme park, the water theme park. Like, I think it'd be really, really fun to do. But as of right now, I'm still recuperating from having to pay for a wedding.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because Tim over here wanted to try his Star Wars pickup line, and
I'm willing to accept it if you've never.
Don't be shy, Tim.
Let's hear it, man.
You ready, Tim?
Okay.
He forgot his tassels today, so. You got it, Tim. You got it.
All right, let's go. Sweetheart, I know you have to be that Sith from Mustafar, because where I'm sitting, you're looking pretty caliente. And I'm not very good to stop, Micah. No.
Can you do it with more conviction?
I can't. No.
Let's see if Micah, you Tim, you can.
Do it.
Yeah. Micah, do it.
Sweetheart, I know you have to be that Sith from Mustafar, because from where I'm sitting, you're looking pretty caliente.
Yes.
Wow. All right, guys.
Come on, Tim. Conviction, buddy.
Let's get y'all's minds on the Starlight Pit. Saya, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, too.
And yeah, you really don't have to respond whether or not that would work on you. You're married, happily married. So we're gonna have you rank the movies for us now. So I'm sure Lewis touched on that a little bit earlier, but how it goes is that you'll be ranking episode 1 to episode 8 against each other, right? So no outside movies like Titanic or anything like that. From 0 to 100, and we do this. We've done it at the council ourselves and with all of our guests, so you're not the only one. And it's your opinion.
Do you guys agree or no? I'm just curious.
Do what?
Do you guys agree on your choices as like a council, or do you like fight about it?
We fight.
Fight about
We
it.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We fight.
I just gotta find the one person who sides with me on everything, and I'm like, yeah.
I almost had to cut myself because Izzy gave a response for those really outlandish ones.
Yeah,
But,
I'm
She's
pretty
like,
bad.
45. What?
But they are your opinions, so we're not gonna, I guess, bully you into thinking otherwise.
Tim.
But we will discuss.
We will discuss. So you ready?
Okay.
All right, let's get it started. So with the Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
So on a scale from, okay, so I knew you guys were going to do this. I gave a lot of thought to this because you guys can hate me if you want to, I have only seen Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith once because I really did not like them.
I love that.
I really, really did. And it wasn't just like the storyline. Storyline I would give like on a scale from like 1 to 100. Like I'm now gonna grade it like a teacher. I would give it like a passing grade of a C, but I'm not gonna watch it again. Like, and it was weird because it's like like when I was like, okay, like I have to like, you know, oh my god, I'm on a Star Wars podcast. I like Star Wars. I consider myself a Star Wars fan, but I was like, but I don't want to be like bullied by these people because I don't know my shit. So I forgot like how much I really like
Would I do that?
originals. But going into like the Phantom Menace, when you introduce a character of Jar Jar Binks, you really
Yes.
unless he's a Sith Lord, then that's okay. So we will. I'm not a fan of the trilogy, but I will tell you right now, I really do. Okay, I'm trying to like remember. I give it like
Darth Maul, remember
Samuel
that?
Jackson with the purple lightsaber. There's just all these like little small things. I'm not a fan of
Darth Maul.
the actor who played Anakin. What is his name? Christian.
Hayden Christensen.
Hate him?
Wow.
Mm.
I think he's hot.
He was
Yes.
not the choice I would have gone with, and I really have a hard time with like whiny characters, so it was really hard for me to like reconnect with that. But also when the movie came out, it was an age thing for me as well. Like it's just like I couldn't connect with the movies very well, and so it's funny because they almost ruined all of Star Wars for me.
No.
Mm.
No.
So if you had to throw a number
No.
from 0 to
No.
1 to 100, I'm not gonna say 0.
70.
Did you say 7?
She said passing.
She said passing.
So like
I
70.
said they were passing, but like if I had to be, I'd say they're all probably around
Amanda,
like
stop it.
40% for me, like 40s.
Stop.
Oh.
Like I mean.
Oompa.
I watched them, and it's not like I like screamed out, "I hate this so much." I did that
Izzy
during
did.
like the Thor movie. I was like, "I hate this so much. I want to be done now." But I mean, it was just a mixture of things. But here's the thing: I can tell you what I did like about them. I liked Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
But I have a huge crush on Ewan McGregor, so even if he played like,
McGregor.
something-
Oh, me too.
The man
I do like. I mean, even like just, and then he had the like. Oh yeah, like he was just everything to me. But I felt like it was like where they crammed too many people into the movies, where it almost like just seems hokey.
Sure.
And that's how I feel when you put Samuel L. Jackson in any movie, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's hard because I like Samuel L. Jackson. I like his character in the Star Wars, but that fool will sign on to any movie for as long as he's getting paid well for it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard, you know. Like he has such great movies, and then he has like such shit movies. I was like, I wish I never saw or heard of. Snakes on a Plane, motherfucking snakes on a plane. Sorry.
And I'm trying to think of like when they came out for me too, and I was pretty young still when they came out. And the thing is like, and I think for the time the graphics and everything were incredible, and they were enjoyable, like movies. But it's like not something I want to watch again.
Yeah.
Like that's not true. I think I saw Revenge of the Sith twice.
Ah, it's working on you.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
It's just weird. I think I'd get
Shit,
all around
40.
these, and I can't really like go much deeper into them because I just really didn't like them, and I can't. It's just one of those things you just don't connect to the movie, or you do, and it's just I don't know. Actually, also, my husband hates these movies so much, and he's like actually like he probably could join your podcast. Like,
Nice.
I don't know, but sometimes he'll just walk out of the room and not talk to me for a while, so it's like, I'll be like, and this is why I didn't like this movie. He's like, just stop. And I'm like, all right.
So,
So do we want to skip to Rogue One then?
we can. So you would officially give the prequel trilogy a 40. Just because
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's me being as nice as I can be.
Okay.
And the reason he's asking for that is because we actually tally up all these amongst all of our, the council
Do you?
members. Yeah,
Yes,
and
we have a data
even
bank.
and even the
Yeah,
guests.
average them
Calm
out.
down with the data bank shit. But even the guests, so just to kind of give some kind of comparison, like where the guests sit with it versus the council members, and the grades themselves can fluctuate. Like we're even kind of taking turns as council members going back, and we can make like say one change a show, saying like, I want to be more critical of that this time and change your score. So
I found my notes on it. Like you asked me, and I was like, oh, I forgot what I wrote on it, but I just want to share. Phantom Menace, okay.
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks, not okay.
Lando. No.
The only good part of the movie was Darth Maul, who I just thought
Yes.
was a cool freaking character. Like, he was so freaking cool. Like, I was like, yes, this guy. Oh, he's dead, okay. Attack of the Clones, I thought was one of the worst ones out of the entire collection.
Yeah.
But I really like Obi-Wan. And I feel like when you're talking about it would be cool to do origin stories, like it'd be really cool to just do a story based on Obi-Wan, because he's a really awesome character in my opinion. But it always has to be Ewan McGregor, because no one ever replace him.
No.
Not Tom Hardy?
No.
Wait, what?
Okay, maybe Tom Hardy goes
Or,
weird, like that. I don't know. It's like mixing apples and oranges together.
I love Tom Hardy and all, but he just
No?
what the not for him.
You know
not
he's
anymore.
short.
Really?
I knew he was short-ish, but like define short, like Tom Cruise short.
I think he's 5'9", 5'10".
Oh, that's
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's not like Tom Cruise is like what 5'4" or something. Like he's
5'6". I'm like obsessed about it because I always felt like a freak growing up. I hit 5'8" when I was like in middle school, so like I've always been obsessed with people's height.
I was like,
And I just
4'9"
like,
in
now
middle
he's only
school.
5'6". I'm like, that's terrible. Like I really don't.
I just see Tom Hardy now as like this huge buff guy because of the movie Warrior and because of Bane.
And all the cameras coming
And
from
it's
above.
funny.
Yeah.
He always gets the shots that the camera's a little bit lower, so it looks like he's a lot bigger.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know that Tom Cruise stand on a box half the time.
yeah.
That's so
They
crazy.
also do that with Iron Man.
No.
Iron
Mm.
Man.
Guys, if you guys watch Tony Stark like walk away in films, he's wearing lifted shoes. They look like little high-heeled shoes. And like, he's really short.
Aw.
You're talking somebody else. I can't think of that.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No.
Incredible. Did that
I'm
just...
tiny now. How do you feel?
I'm
And then
really tiny.
40% also for Revenge of the Sith. I said I'm not a Hayden Christensen fan, to be honest. I didn't really enjoy the whiny little bitch like pulled to the dark side. It was very unbelievable.
Now, would you say? I just have to get clarification. That's all. Would you say it's Hayden Christensen, or would you say it's the way the character was portrayed?
Here's the thing. I think it was the way the character was portrayed. Like the thing is, like I don't know if it was necessarily like hidden. It was a mixture of both for me. I would like. Here's the thing. I would love for these to be rewritten now. Like keep the same storyline, but bring people in. Because I feel like they just made some bad choices here. But I also don't know if the actor got a lot of, like, I read that he didn't get a lot of help when he was, like, creating character and, like, going through things. That's what I read. So, like, it was, like, one of the reasons why is this movie so bad? Why do I hate it so much? Like, why is this not believable? And it was, like, I just don't know if it was, like, just not written strongly enough or if it was just the actor's choice to be a whiny bitch.
I think it was. I mean, I know I've talked to Lewis about this ad nauseum. Like I feel like he, like image-wise, was perfect for the role, but I don't think the direction.
He's very handsome.
Very, very.
I agree. Can I say that? But like because there's a different depiction of him in the animated series Clone Wars, which makes him. He's not the whiny bitch as you call him. He's not. He's like very kind of like Kylo Ren more so. But stronger and more passionate, I guess, in his being pissed off about things.
He was lacking passion. I think that's what it is. Like, it really was. Like he had like in the movie, it was just not. It wasn't there, and I don't. It was interesting to me. Like, it just wasn't. I don't know why he made the decisions he did. It was more of just like an angsty like need to be important, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a messed up on Lucas's part, which is a shame because I've seen him in other movies. He's done I think he's done real well in some of the other movies I've seen him in. As far as the acting is concerned.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I did read, like, when I had to go into this a little bit, but I did read that, like, the actor wasn't given a lot of help when he was trying to, like, create the character, and, like, so I also feel like Lucas wouldn't, like, tell them, like, what he was supposed to be feeling in this, like, he left it a lot up to the actor, and I think that was a huge mistake, if that happened to be, like, the case. Not the things from the internet aren't true anyway, so, like, but I just feel like that's something Lucas may have done.
Yeah.
True.
Sure.
All right, Sarah?
Okay. Rogue One? Okay. Rogue One.
Are you sure?
We're Rogue One.
No.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Han Solo.
I don't know what's happening.
Han Solo.
It is Han Solo. Wow. Okay.
You're gonna hate me. I haven't seen Han Solo yet.
Oh my goodness.
Ruh-roh.
Okay, so thanks.
Okay, podcast over. Go watch Han Solo. We'll be right back.
I know. I feel so bad because it's just like, we wanted to see it so bad, and I saved it. I had the opportunity to go, and I couldn't go with my hubby because he was working, and I was like, okay, I'll wait for you till like Monday, and it just kept getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off, so I haven't seen it yet, and I feel terrible. I'm so ashamed. You can like shame bash me. I feel awful about it, and oh god, like, but it's the only one I haven't seen.
So,
And
so how were your feelings about it? Just seeing like what fans are saying, what
it really has some mixed reviews, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't know, because a lot of what I hear is pretty negative, but Dakota's pretty excited for it. And, I mean, like, he's like
He's obsessed with
he's
it.
a true, like, wholehearted Star Wars fan. So, like, I'm holding out hope, but I try not to go into it too much with, like a basis of what I think it's going to be, because I've been horribly disappointed a lot of times. You're like, this is going to be excellent. I feel like you went into it not knowing it. You accepted it like an okay movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
I think our consensus.
Did you guys like it or not? I just want your opinion, because I don't know.
Yeah. We all liked it.
I liked it.
I think our consensus was a high 80, right? Somewhere around there. Mid to high 80?
I think so.
I think so.
Something like that? Yeah. So
I believe mine was mid 80, but like it's a solid. To me, I thought it was a solid movie. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't great, and it had some bad parts too. But overall, I thought it was a good movie.
it gave some really good fan service. It really did.
It was funny though, because it's like last night Dakota was like, we should watch it tonight, so you like, and I was like, and I was like, no, it's like midnight. I have to
Yeah. No, I would think you would enjoy it. I think most of us did. And a lot of the people, it's weird because there's a lot of, like Micah says, quote unquote, true fans that boycotted the movie, or they're not going to watch it, or they'll wait till the DVD comes out, or Blu-ray, or whatever the case may be. But the people that actually went to go watch it were like, hey, this is a really good movie. You know what I mean? Yeah, so...
People say true fans, so like, well, if you're a true fan, you probably should support, like...
Yeah, right? Exactly.
That gives me a lot of hope. I'm excited. I did actually want to see it, and I was very excited for it. But it also came out at the same time, like, a lot of other movies were coming out, like, I think
Yes.
And so I think it just got like one of those things that just kept getting pushed off for us. And I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, it's a good movie.
Oh yeah, I want to watch it again, over and over. But all right.
So Rogue One.
Rogue One?
Are you sure this time?
Sarah, take over.
No.
Take over this.
Rogue
Get
One.
control.
Okay.
Rogue One.
Battlefront 2.
Just be confident.
I was, and they were like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
So you weren't
I
that
wasn't
confident
sure,
about it.
but she didn't see it, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Yeah.
she can hear it though, so.
No, I didn't say Rogue. Okay.
Okay, Rogue One.
One rogue.
I should just leave.
I will answer.
Well.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Rogue One. It was not exactly what I expected when I watched it, but I went into it with an open mind. It ended very intensely. Like, it was like the first time I was like, oh shit, like, okay, this is a lot different. It just wasn't what I was really expecting when I went into it. But I went into it not knowing anything about it. Like, I literally was like, okay, let's just like do this. I'd say it's solid 85 for me. I really did enjoy it. I like the characters, but again, I'm always gonna rate movies with women I can relate to, a little bit more. God, it's just those movies where everybody dies in. They're kind of like, they can always kind of like leave a little sad note in there where you're like, oh, okay.
Unless the people.
No, I did enjoy it. Yeah.
Unless the people needed to die, right? By like.
Huh?
Unless the people needed to die, like say by Darth Vader's hands, or Saber.
How'd you like that last scene when Vader came out and just started hacking away at everybody?
Mike's favorite part.
Favorite part.
Oh, you mean like at the very end when it's like the door was like closing and then he comes through? That was like the most awesome, iconic scene.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, really kind of like created that excitement. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm trying to like remember like watching it, but yeah, I do remember like when he comes out and then like it was the moment that you get to see him for like the very first time. It was like, that was so cool, and I think that's something with everything. And I think that also was more of a fan service thing too, because it really got everybody who really loved, that the whole prequel 80s hype. I think that was like probably one of the coolest parts of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, the little baby Leia, that was so adorable.
Oh. Yeah. I love it.
Okay. So New Hope. Unless
I
you're
mean,
gonna
no.
question me.
No, never
We
again.
didn't say anything.
That's what I thought.
I'm not gonna say never again because.
Wow. That was mean.
Well, do you want me to lie to you?
Kind of.
Yeah, no.
I think that A New Hope, as well as Empire Strikes Back, are still in the top 1 and 2 of all Star Wars movies. Like I said, like I watched these. I mean, because I wasn't even born until like almost a decade after some of these movies, and they still, even today, I think, story-wise, just character development-wise, and movie-wise, I think still could hold up today. And I give A New Hope straight up like a 90. Straight up 90. Like,
Okay.
90, there you go.
Straight up 90.
Straight up 90. But I give probably Empire Strikes Back, maybe a little bit more. Like, I don't know. Like, it's funny because it's like I had to like think about this. Like, what did I enjoy about these movies? But I think that these are. I mean, without A New Hope, you don't have Star Wars. So I don't know. This like, I mean, it's kind of like it's set the whole mood, and they created an iconic character that's changed an entire generation of people. Really,
Yeah.
I like it.
So, Empire was what?
I give Empire Strikes Back. Okay, I give Empire Strikes Back a little bit more. I give it like a 90-30.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay. Return of the Jedi?
I actually think Return of the Jedi is the weakest of the three, but I'm just waiting for the podcast to end, so I feel like that's enough of you. I give it like an 88. I think this is a really strong trilogy. I don't know if the Return of the Jedi is something that would be able to stand on its own as a movie, but like as the end of a trilogy, I think it really did come together. And let me read my notes because I get a little nervous when I get asked questions. What did I read this?
What about when they're on Endor and?
Oh my god.
That's where they killed Boba Fett in the first 20 minutes of the movie. Like, yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't really care for this too much.
It's like, oh, this movie already has a mark against it. You have one strike.
How do you start a movie like that? Like, all right, you're like, all right, I'm done. So, no, I mean, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just, it's not the one I go to. Like, you're like, oh, what's on Netflix? Like, it's
Yeah.
okay. It was
So we got an 88 for that one.
88.
Yeah.
88.
Good job.
Hey,
Sarah.
no.
The Force Awakens?
I loved it.
Mm.
I did. I really did. I know this is crazy, but like, it came out like it was what I wanted. I know that like I don't give a shit. Like I love what Disney did with it. I really do. I love the concept of Rey. Kylo Ren is still like. I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't have chosen Adam for that part, but I think he did a great job with it. He really, he grew on me all the time. I want to just grab him by the ears. But like, I just really enjoyed it. A lot of people. I really did. I'm gonna give it 95. Like, I really did. I really liked it. I like it so much.
I gotta ask if Adam Driver was not cast for that role, who would you have liked to have seen?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Is like people make that, but I don't know. Who would you guys say? Because I really don't have like. I wasn't so opposed to him being it. It's just like when he took off the helmet the first time, I was like, I was like, okay, like this is interesting. But like, because you go from Anakin.
Probably Nick Jonas.
Nick Jonas?
Sam, get the hell out!
And then the thing is, like, I actually think he did fine with it. Like, it's like, I think that this new trilogy is bringing more realistic people to these roles. Like, it's more of a, instead of it being just like, Model S people or like, stars, like they brought people that you can relate to, people that weren't wholeheartedly, I mean, Jason's adorable, but like, it's just like the first time you actually get to see real people that you can really relate to who have like, and it was like such a different collection of people too. Like, there was someone that everybody could relate to in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just really don't, but I don't know who I would think would replace him. I actually think he did fine with it.
Yeah. I always thought maybe like, of course I think he's too old now for the part, but I always, like, how about like a Joaquin Phoenix? You know what I mean?
I love Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah,
Yes.
But for
he was just like
Oh,
crazy.
really? Yeah.
He's like, oh. When he just got casted in something.
Joker.
Joker.
Yeah, Joker. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I just loved his role in Gladiator. Have you
That's
just
so funny.
yes.
It's like when I heard that he was gonna be the
Love
Joker, I was like, well, he did so good, and like in Gladiator, I could see him like going through that crazy like jealousy thing. Like
Mhm.
I had never considered that before. I'll have to like think about it for like solid like 3 minutes and just like didn't do it. But I mean, he definitely could, depending on how. But
Push your face.
Very nice.
Yeah, because I remember like before episode 7 came out, they had they released something like they were looking for people, right? And they had brief descriptions, and I just feel like they really landed Adam Driver really well, because I remember one of the descriptions for the part was preferably younger, potentially a military background, and then being that Adam Driver was in the Marine Corps for a year or so before he left for medical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was like that was like, not saying that he was like made for that role or anything, but it just seemed like he had just enough of everything he needed to really bring to that role and to fill it.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy that.
So like I think when he comes out, like like he may not have made it, but he made it his, and I really do appreciate that. And I also think like when he like steps into the frame, it's his shot. Like he really does demand a presence, and he's so physically huge. Like that's the other thing, is like he's a really big guy, so it's really neat to see like everything he embodies and he's a really talented guy. Like he really is. I mean, he really is such a talented person. So I mean, I don't dislike him in the role at all. Like it's just one of those things where it's just like it surprised me a little bit, but I'm not happy with it. Like I think he really made it his own, and I am a fan.
Yeah,
Very nice.
definitely. Sarah,
And The Last Jedi.
which
Episode 8. Ow!
I like The Last Jedi. I'm really supporting this
I'm not gonna kick him.
this
That's
trilogy, this 5-part movie, hopefully. But I fully support like where this is going. I know that not everybody, there were some issues with The Last Jedi, but I really do. I really liked it. I was there. I had a good time, and I thought it was a really cool moment. I thought it really did justice to a lot of because it was like basically saying goodbye. Like we're saying goodbye to old Star Wars and we're bringing part new Star Wars. And I think that it did it in a really interesting way. And I think it played a lot of tribute to Leia and the strength of her character. And I think it was nice to say goodbye to I don't know. I just really liked, because it's like I like just how it closed the story of a book and it began a new one. So it's kind of like we really don't know what the future is going to bring us. It left it very open ended for us, but it definitely put to end the last story. I liked it. It was good.
Rapo.
You want to read it? What did you say?
He's shipping Ray.
So they have like goofy names for people that should be coming together and everything.
Kylo Ren.
And
Couple names.
So I said Poe and Ray, but Rapo.
Whatever.
That's bad.
It's a name that you just can't let go of.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you can.
But
Yeah, you can.
so what was your grade for The Last Jedi?
I probably put it up like maybe like a 93. I don't know. 93.2?
93.2.
Okay.
It is.
I think that was mine, 93.
Was it really? Because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I think it was. It went from 100 to 93.
Well, we've hit the 2 o'clock mark. My goodness. That went by pretty quick. So, I for one want to just say once again, Saya, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. So you spending your afternoon with us. I know you had a late night.
It's my morning.
Yeah, exactly. Morning for you. So, we just want to say thank you again. And if you just want to let everybody else know out there where they can find your cosplays and where to connect with you, if you want to let them know again, I'll leave that up to you.
First of all, thank you so much, guys, so much. I really enjoyed it. I hope that you don't horribly talk shit about me when I get off.
No.
Oh my god.
We
no,
enjoyed
you
the
guys
company.
Can follow me. I'm actually starting my own YouTube show. I'm really pushing into acting as well, so it's all going to be underneath my kind of cosplay-ish name, which is Sayon, Sayayahn. Huge nerd, baller for fun, pretty jokey person. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if I was worthy enough to come on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No, it's great.
You're great.
Except language.
Oh,
oh my gosh. I feel like I'm just like, oh, so sorry.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. I love the Captain America video that you put out where y'all stop the car. You're like language.
And that's the
That was a
funny
good
thing
video.
about that. Like, I'm doing a few more projects. I really want to start moving a lot of this into like, acting and doing like fun little like shorts and stuff like that. And I think Captain America is the most ridiculous character ever. Like, I just think he's so just over the top hilarious. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start playing with like a lot of these things. But also, it's funny because if you know me personally, I have like the worst mouth. I've been working on it. I'm just
That's too funny.
Yeah,
You
Steve
can't
Rogers
take me
was
to
a
nice places. I'm like,
You got the rap.
It's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wrap. There's nothing else.
No, yeah. You're gonna do it on the fly.
Spitfire.
Fly wrap.
So this is the Choke Force podcast.
Oh my god, no, stop.
Well, again, as Lois prefaced, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Had a good time, especially Lando being a punk around here. But it looks like that's a wrap. We hit our time, so thank you for everyone watching. And my name is Micah.
I'm Izzy.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tim.
And I'm Lewis.
And we are the
This is the council.
The council has spoken.
The judge has cancel fuck 'em. And that's it.
That's a rest.